So you've heard me talk about root cuttings, and I want to show you close up one of my root cuttings. You can see I wired the root straight up, and now I have multiple stems coming out of that central part of the root. Almost wants to make itself into a broom style. So I believe this is one of my dwarf elms. And this is another one. This is far more typical of what happens with the root cuttings. You end up with one stem popping out in one spot of the root. So what I'm going to do now is clean these up and up pot them. So hopefully I'll be able to put the camera back in a spot where you'll be able to see what I'm doing. From what I can tell, it looks like we're on track. So let's take the single trunk first. I'm not sure what size pot this is. Slightly smaller than 4 inches, could be 3.5. Let's see. And the question is, how do you measure it? Do I measure the bottom or do I measure the top? So I'm going to call this a 3-inch pot. These are 4-inch pots. So we'll inspect the roots. I'm not seeing any root mealybugs, which makes me happy. Usual little baby weeds. There's one of my regulars, a woods violet. Alright, now I don't need that wire. I'm not even sure why that wire was put there. Must have been guiding something at some point. And now we'll take a peek. I've got these interesting roots coming out at multiple levels. I'm not sure if I want them or don't want them. Give a little nip around the perimeter. I'm thinking I may have to give this a swish, and then I just may spread these roots out. So let's give her a swish. And now I have some interesting, if unorthodox, rootage. So do I cut these off, work with the top, do some rooting hormone, or do I accept the tree the way it is? I'm inclined to let it go for another season. You know, people ask me how do you know when to do different things? And part of it is experience, and part of it is what I want the tree to look like. So I don't know what I want this one to look like. I know I want it to be healthy, and I want it to mature. I don't want a giant tree. I think I'm going to go for mame size. We'll see how the tree behaves. So now I have this other one that looks like it wants to be a broom. No root mealybugs, no slugs. Makes me happy. There's this weird plant that lives underground when you expose it to sunlight, it turns green and dies. And I just find it winding its way through the containers. Dies, grows, dies, grows. Very, very interesting plant. Still waiting to get it identified. If any of you know what it is, let me know. I've got one of my students at the New York Botanic Garden trying to track it down for me. So, not a lot in the way of roots on this one. Let's do a swish. I wired this up at one point, so don't feel a need to keep that wire any longer. The question is, do I need to keep all these roots? I have this one very high, this one high, and then these roots lower down. So do I want a tree that's that tall, or do I want a tree that's that tall? Now, if I take these roots off, I'll work with them. If I take the bottom off, then I have no roots on that side, and then I have to dust it with hormone and start all over. Not sure I want to do that, so I will remove the little roots at the top, and then put it in some fresh soilless media. Try and comb out the roots. See, now I want to get rid of this. I'm incorrigible. I'm just unbelievable. Gonna put another layer of soil in there. I think I want it a little deeper. I want it firm, but not impenetrable. I have no idea where I'm going with the front, but I know I want to pull that root to the back. I want to pull that root to the I guess I do know where I'm going with the front. All right. Now the tree is fighting me and wants to lean towards the front, or at least to one direction. Still not sure where the front is. And I just may spend a second and put a piece of 1 millimeter wire, bring that up, straighten that up, bring that out. So it's going to be 2 or 3 pieces. It's a problem. Once you start to make adjustments and you start wiring something, you can't wire just one branch. You got to think about the entire tree and the branch placement, and then decide who is no longer complementing the surrounding branches. Something I tend to like is a sympathetic line. I don't want the trees all going off in different directions. Trees. Don't want the branches going off in different directions. So I like to have everybody working in harmony Theory being that you're replicating a mature tree in miniature, so whatever affected the branches did not affect them individually. It affected the entire tree as a whole. So your branches should reflect whatever environmental influences you're imagining. And my instructor used to make up stories about trees, or tell you could make up a story about a tree. It was hit by lightning, it was attacked by deer, it was buried in snow and branches collapsed. So you can be as imaginative as you want with your tree, but make it look like a tree. There's some bonsai out there that are just absolutely gorgeous works of art, but they don't look like trees anymore. They look like sculptures. And they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But some people would frown upon it because it doesn't look like a tree anymore. So, I have my trusty dollar store bamboo skewer. It's got a lifespan of about 2 years inside the greenhouse, and I will use that to keep the tree from toppling over on me. And then I'll either put a green twist tie or a white twist tie or the green tomato wire. That's the stuff that's coated in foam. You don't have to use that, but what you want to do is make sure that you're not adding any more potential for wire scars than you need to. Because I know what happens to me. I let the trees get away from me. And then I've got years of work to grow out the scarring. So that's just some twist tie that I use when I'm tying up chrysanthemums and whatnot. So there we have 2 root cuttings. Not sure about the design on this one. Kind of sure about the design on that one, but they're super dwarf, so I'm looking forward to keeping them tiny and flourishing this year. So now I only have another 29 or 30 more elms to go, and then I can start to work on the other trees. So this is where I tell you, like, subscribe, questions, comments, requests. Hit me in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends. But more importantly, go out and have fun with your trees.